everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is the second Emily Henry book I've read. I read Beach Read last year and absolutely loved it, so I was really excited to pick this up as soon as summer rolled around because I feel like these books are kind of based in summer. They're romances, they're cute, they're perfect, like beach reads, literally. I'm going to be talking about spoilers in this video because this is like a little book club where you and I have both read the book and we're going to talk about it. So if you haven't read it, click off, go read it and come back. This is the story of Nora and Charlie. Nora is a cutthroat literary agent and Charlie is an editor, and they're both professional kind of rivals, but kind of not really. Like, I feel like they had some tension initially, but they don't really know each other, and once they do, they kind of instantly aren't rivals. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Nora goes to this place called Sunshine Falls with her sister. They have this checklist of all of these like classic Hallmark movie kind of rom-com things to do in a small town, and they're going to work through this list, and Nora keeps bumping into Charlie. Sunshine Falls is where her client Dusty's last book was set, and Charlie had initially turned down that for editing, saying he hated it, and it turns out he hated it because he lives in Sunshine Falls and he doesn't really like it there. And after Nora discovers this, it all kind of starts to make sense, and yeah, I guess she forgives him a bit. They have a lot of flirty banter and the sexual tension is like very apparent. The pair of them are very similar. They even wear the same kind of scent, and they both are New York people. They're both kind of high-powered professionals. They're very sleek. They're not country style at all, and neither of them really fit into a place like Sunshine Falls. It turns out the reason Charlie is there is because his dad has had a stroke and he's moved back to help his family and help keep this little bookshop running, and he's kind of doing his editing job alongside this other full-time job. So this is a nice guy move, and Nora respects Charlie for this. They have a sizzling romance that kind of cooks throughout this novel and reaches a point where they're both really in love with each other. They both work together on editing Dusty's new book, which is about a cutthroat literary agent described as being like a shark, kind of like Nora, and Nora's a little bit horrified that her sister and her client and everyone else seems to see her as this shark, basically. And Charlie really reassures her about this. He loves this about her. He loves her for who she really is, doesn't want her to change, and he is also kind of that sharky kind of character as well. And I thought this was really clever. Like, straight from the prologue, Nora talks about the world in the sense of it being like a manuscript that she's appraising, and she talks about this classic Hallmark movie where the man leaves New York to go and like work in this small town, and he ends up saving a small business and falling in love with this like natural crunchy kind of girl, and leaving his blonde bitchy high-powered New York girlfriend to go be with his true love in the countryside. And Nora is that blonde-haired high-powered city girl, and she's been left 4 times by men in this fashion because like life imitates art, I guess. I thought it was really interesting to focus a romance story on this character that's always left behind in New York, who's kind of posited as the lesser woman, even though she's got a full personality and life of her own. We explore Nora's traumas throughout this novel, how her mother passed away and she became the full carer for her younger sister, who was 16 at the time and she was 20. We see that Nora is very codependent. She kind of cares about her sister Libby and her problems and fixing them more than like Libby does. She cannot be happy unless like everything is fine with Libby. She's very anxious. She is very controlling. She likes to sleep in her own bed. She likes to have her phone on full blast in case anything goes wrong. And this is why she is the way she is. She's a shark because she's protective of those that she loves, which is her sister. She does the job that she does instead of following her dream to be an editor because that's what pays, and that financial security is what keeps her and her sister safe. And she loves New York because that's where all her memories with her mother are. And thus Nora is not just this tropey, sharky woman with the bleached blonde hair. She's a full person, and you know, she's complex and she does have a heart despite what other people might think. I think it's so nice that Charlie sees this in her and loves her for who she really is. I love that she doesn't go to this small town, fall in love with it, and then change her dreams and change everything about who she is. I love that she doesn't just get over her mental health issues and her anxiety. She does still have them at the end of the book. She does follow her dreams. She does go back to New York because that's where she's going to be happiest. And Charlie doesn't try to change this about her. He lets her go because he loves her and because he knows that's what's best for her. And she also loves him enough to know that he has his own kind of childhood traumas and background as well, and that he wants to stay in Sunshine Falls to help his family, and that he can't not do that even though he is happier in New York and he doesn't fit in there. They're both upfront with each other about this. They're upfront about their feelings for one another, and they're kind of upfront about everything in this novel, which I loved. The one irksome thing about Beach Read that I had was that they miscommunicated, and that all of the conflict at the end of that novel could have been like resolved if they just like had an honest conversation. And Charlie and Nora have those honest conversations and they have good communication. They're not toxic. I love to have a romance that I can actually root for and that isn't toxic, especially coming from like reading a lot of romantasy recently where the relationships are a little bit toxic and miscommunicative. So this was a really nice change for me. I love that I wasn't like annoyed at the characters. I was just like, yeah, this situation that's keeping them apart kind of sucks, and I see, you know, why this is a problem that they can't solve. I love the twist at the end, even though I like completely predicted it. As soon as I knew that Libby was going to be living there, I was like, she can just work in the bookstore because she's, you know, done all this work to help restore it, so she can just work there. And she does, and that frees up Charlie to come back to New York and live happily ever after, which is amazing. The secondary plot, I wouldn't call it a subplot because it is a very big part of the main plot, is Nora's relationship with Libby. There's something going on with Libby throughout the course of this novel. She's clearly going through something. She's pregnant. She's spending some time away from her husband. We're kind of misled to believe that they might be getting a divorce, which is a red herring. And in the end, it turns out she's moving there. She's bought a house, and the whole list of the things they were going to do in Sunshine Falls was to win Nora over, because she knows that Nora is controlling and protective. She's a city person, and you know, she knows that she's going to have a hard time with this, and she's actually trying to emotionally take care of Nora the way Nora always does for her. Speaking of miscommunication, I guess we do have the miscommunication trope with the sisters, because Libby holds a lot back from Nora, but I think it makes sense. I think the novel really explores how their trauma, their grief, I guess, and how that's affected Nora now affects her relationship with her sister. It really shows the impact that these psychological patterns that we can create for ourselves has on our relationships and the people around us. I like that the sisters work through this in this novel, and Nora can kind of make the first steps to step down from her kind of mothering and just be a sister for a change. Feels like by the end, Nora can let go a little bit and just start to breathe. I found the story really relatable. I think, you know, it was very true to the experience of grief and how, you know, when you're grieving and you've lost someone, it can kind of keep you in a bit of the mental state you were in at the time you experienced that grief. It can make you hold on to like that place or that person, that home. The way Nora loves New York and feels very at home there, I feel like that about my home as well. So I feel like I totally get where she's coming from, even though I'm not, you know, that same kind of sharky personality type. Although on that, I didn't really see like too much of Nora being a shark. Maybe because we didn't see her like in action as a business person so much. All of her like professional interactions, apart from the one with Charlie before they got to know each other, have been with Dusty, in which she's actually kind of mothering and very, you know, warm and reassuring. Otherwise it felt a little bit tell and not show, because we don't see as much of her being a really ruthless shark. It's giving Throne of Glass book 1, with her telling us that Selena is like the best assassin in the world with like no evidence to back it up, although maybe not quite as bad as that. I thought this book was well written enough. It was quite chatty in places. I thought it was similar to Beach Read. I wasn't sure when I read Beach Read if that was the character coming through or Emily Henry's writing style. And I'm still not sure if it's Nora's kind of character where she's a bit quippy, or if it's Emily Henry's style. Maybe she just likes to create characters like that so that she can exercise her style. There's always a lot of like brackets with like additional info, which sometimes borders on a little bit too much. I also felt like sometimes she was trying to be funny, but like the jokes didn't really land for me. Maybe it's just not my humour, but I don't know. Let me know if you thought this book was like funny. Maybe it's not meant to be funny. I'm not sure. To be honest, I was just having fun and not trying to like look too deeply into any of it. Again, like Beach Read, I really love the cover of this book. I really love all of the UK covers of Emily Henry's books. I think they're so well marketed. Like just the title, Book Lovers, Beach Read. This is the kind of terms that you would search for if you were looking for a nice holiday vacation beach read. Book Lovers is automatically going to appeal to people because most people that read books are book lovers, and they're going to go, book lovers, that's me. Maybe that will appeal to me. And I really do think that they're just tonally perfect little rom-coms with a heart and with something to say about kind of the human experience and our psychology sometimes. In hindsight, I'm quite glad that I had a big break between Beach Read and Book Lovers because they are quite similar, and there's a page, like a marketing page in this book, where it outlines Yumi on Vacation and Happy Place as well, where it's just like, here's the two characters, heterosexual characters, they are rivals, or they are this, and they go here, and what happens? And yeah, it's very formulaic. I can see why in her most recent publication, Big Beautiful Life or whatever it's called, she's tried to like step away from that a little bit. I've not read it, but that's what people have been saying. She's been trying to be more literary in that one, in a way that hasn't landed for some. But I think being a bit formulaic is okay. That's kind of the conventions of the romance genre, even though that does make it quite predictable. Like, you kind of know it's going to be a happy ending, you know it's going to be two people, there's going to be conflict, they're going to learn to fall in love, and then they're going to be together. But because it is formulaic and quite samey, I don't think you can like read them back to back. I think you need to be in the mood, you need to kind of want a chill time, and to just go into it wanting a nice little like break for your brain, like to not be like too broken hearted. I don't think they're books that you need to turn your brain off completely to read. I think they do make you think a little bit, but it's still like nice and wholesome and like fairly gentle, and there's enough like, you know, sexual chemistry and cuteness to get you by and give you all of the happy feelings as well. And like most of those like naughties, rom-coms and Hallmark movies, you know it's probably going to turn out okay in the end, so you can relax a little bit. So all that being said, I will definitely pick up another Emily Henry book in the future, but maybe next year. I'll have a bit of a break, and I think I'll do You and Me on Vacation next. I think that sounds like one of her stronger ones, and the others have more mixed feedback. I heard good things about Funny Story, less good things about Happy Place, and very conflicted opinions on the new one. So let me know what you think. Let me know what your favourite Emily Henry novel is and what one I should read next in the comments. What do you like best out of Beach Read and Book Lovers? I think I liked Beach Read a little bit more, but I think Charlie and Nora have a little bit of a healthier relationship, which I really liked as well. And I like that they both had themes about writing and books, and that January Andrews' books were referenced in this book, which was a nice little callback in the Emily Henry universe. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more bookish chats. Bye!